Age of 4. David's health prevents him from working, so when he isn't caring for his disabled father, he paints, which he finds particularly therapeutic. Joe Lieber works as a customer services representative, but has just completed an A-level in art, which she hopes might eventually lead her to a career in picture restoration. A scene from a bygone age. Our 3 artists will certainly enjoy its peace and quiet.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Well, there's a good welcome. Well, rather a blustery day today. Not so good for painters, but ideal, I suspect, for windmills. Now, this is a very special week in Watercolour Challenge. On Monday, we had our youngest ever competitor, and today I have the kind permission of Margot to state that you are our oldest.
By a long way.
Well, that's, I don't know about that, Margot. You certainly don't look it. But there we are. So it is a special week, and we have a really super subject today. I think you'll agree. Once those sales start going round, it'll be even more exciting. So 4 hours, please don't forget. Best of luck, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.
I feel very happy about it, except that it's quite difficult being so close, kind of underneath it. I'm going to leave out quite a lot of the trees and the greenery, and I'm just going to include some figures. I suppose colour doesn't mean so much to me as shape. It was wonderful to go up and see how, see all the workings inside, and see that it is an actual working mill still.
I think I've got the best composition for start off, because I don't think it would have worked horizontally. That's why I changed it vertically, because it's so imposing. It's very foreboding building, you know. It's almost phallic in shape, but apart from that, it's a nice building. The sky is absolutely brilliant. I'm going to have to hurry up and get the sky down, because I mean the wind and the rain, and it's creating some really nice effects.
It's very three-dimensional. It splits up very easily into a middle distance and a foreground, and lots of darks and shades as well, because you've got the windmill and the lovely walkway around it, and that casts really nice shadows, and it's just very interesting.
Well, the sails are whizzing round behind us as Susan Webb is here to talk about today's challenge.
Proportion is extremely important, so the first thing they're going to have to do is to make sure that the windmill is functional. So they're going to have to measure up, so if they take their pencil and use their thumb as a measuring stick and absolutely measure the proportion of the sails into the body of the windmill, and particularly proportion from the sail to the boss, so that they know that when the wheel turns, that when the sails come around towards the grind, they're not going to dig into the grind because it wouldn't work. Then they've got to get the perspective on the sail that's coming towards them, right? Which is, again, very tricky. And the eye can be very confused, especially when the sails are moving. It's hard to see exactly what's going on, so you've got to be really analytical. And of course, they've got to make sure they position the actual windmill so it makes a pleasant arrangement on the paper, so they've got enough space for everything. A lot of drawing today.
A lot of drawing, a lot of challenge.
Yeah.
Good, thanks very much.
Okay.
I wanted to stand out against the sky. I know you'll think I'm doing something very odd, but it will be black in the end, hopefully. I only ever use about four colours, sometimes 5, and I'll put blue over this, and it'll make it go black. I always do use very rough paper because I find it sort of suits my frightfully loose style, and it gives it a lovely texture, which you can sort of get with the paper. You haven't got to battle with the paint to do it for you.
I hope to get originality out of my paintings. Totally, I wouldn't say garish colours, but different colours, and just make it stand out as much as possible, and I think that means using a lot of artistic license. Maybe changing a few colours. I wouldn't call it cheating, but you know, it's a different way of using different media, I think, and it's more expressive. The biggest challenge is going to be the ponds. All the ripples and everything, and the reflections, all the different colours. The reeds, I haven't done anything like this for a long time, so I think I'm going to have to use a lot of masking fluid on them and get the various dark greens of the backgrounds of the bushes and things.
I think proportion will be very important because the item itself is so big, and to some extent you don't need all of the item because you can actually make a painting more or less interesting by leaving out and ignoring some pieces. So when you have a technical object, you always have to decide what's in and what's out. I suppose in a way it's quite very country and almost a bit romantic in a way because of all the wildness of the hedgerow and the sort of blackberries and the reeds and things which are growing up in the front of the pond itself. And then you have something in the background which is, it's very linear and quite harsh in comparison to all the sort of lush greenery in the natural pond and that's at the front.
All it takes to grind flour at Bursledon is a good northerly or southerly wind to turn the sails. The interior is beautifully crafted in different woods. The main shaft is the original one used in 1814 and is made of Scots pine. The working pair of millstones grinds the locally grown grain into flour. It takes 1 hour to turn 100 weight of wheat into 112 pounds of stone ground meal or flour.
Hello, Margot.
Hello, Hannah.
Hi, Margot.
Susan.
We have perfect windmill conditions today. Whizzing
I
round
know,
it's been.
it's what we need, isn't it? It's wonderful.
How are you getting on?
Well,
oh, wow.
it's not standing up very straight.
I'm sure that you can just equal up the sides there
Yes.
by adding a little bit more
By adding
here.
a little bit more, yes.
And if it's difficult, well, look,
Yes.
just take a piece of tracing paper,
Yes, yes.
trace it there,
Yes.
draw a line dead down the
know,
centre,
okay.
fold it over, and then you'll have an exact
Brilliant
mirror
idea.
image.
Yes.
And fine.
Yes, yeah.
You're fine. But I really like the way you've placed it. It's that you've got lovely proportions there. As you come to the foreground,
Yes.
I'd be as careful with your minor shapes and place them just as well.
Yes.
I'm sure
right.
you plan to do that anyway.
Well, I plan to put them about there.
Just as long as they
Yes.
feel as nice
Yes.
with the
Yes.
painting as what
Yes.
you've already done.
Yeah, they're not going to be very enormous. They're just going to go round.
All right, Margot. Thank you very much.
Lovely.
We'll
Thank
see you a bit later.
Yes, lovely.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Susan.
Hello, David.
Hello, Hannah. All
How's it going?
Not too bad. It's
Not
a bit,
bad at all. How's he doing, Susan?
I think you have a very nice composition. I like very much what you've done in the foreground there. I think there's one little inaccuracy though, just from the point of view of the windmill as a working windmill. Do you see the platform up there that runs along here?
Oh, yeah.
Well, where you've got your masking fluid comes below the platform, which would mean the sail would be butting into the platform.
Yeah.
Fortunately, you haven't painted it yet. So all you have to do is rub it out and make it a bit shorter.
Yeah.
And then you'll have to shorten that one a little bit as well.
My
just so,
excuse is artistic license.
I've just been looking at that top up there, you know, where
Yeah.
and it's fascinating. I didn't realise
Isn't
until
it?
now it's
Yeah.
wood, because you've made me sort of look at that.
Yeah, because it's the way they bent the beams over, how they did it in those days, I don't know. I like drawing the ellipses, the curves of the actual thing.
Super. We'll let you
Thank
get
you.
on then.
Ta.
Thank you, David. Hello then, Joe.
Hi there.
Bright and breezy up this end.
Absolutely.
I really like this composition.
So do I.
What a clever way of not having to paint all the sails.
Yeah, I didn't like those. I decided that early on.
Which way is your light coming from?
This way.
From the left?
Because I quite like the fact that under the sort of boardwalk you get a nice lot of patterns when the sun actually shines.
So with the same precision that you've seen all the shapes of the actual structure of the windmill and these shapes in the foreground, I'd also put in as clearly your shadow shapes. Do you see those beautiful shapes and sails sailing round?
Yeah.
And you see the love and the way it curves. You see the shadow shape curves with the curve of the building, and that would really add to your composition there. And of course, this side of the windmill is going to have to be dark. Lovely work.
It is very nice indeed. Well, we'll let you get on.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jo.
You're welcome.
Margot has placed her windmill well, but can she get it to stand up straight? Will David stop his sails hitting the platform? And will Jo sustain her precise observation when she adds some shadows?
Well, which artist do you think will win? Well, in the words of the famous Bob Dylan song, the answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. Join us in a few minutes. Welcome back to Bursledon Windmill. Well, the sails are whirling, the cogs are turning, the stones are grinding, and the artists have only got 2 hours left.
I'm getting on better now. I think I'm getting to grips with it because I'm now managing to get a bit more colour on it, because the whole thing was terribly wishy-washy. Got to strengthen everything. I think when I put the figures in front, it'll make the windmill go back further, hopefully, and it'll give some interest in the foreground. When I do paint, I nearly always do paint outside, and so it isn't a novelty to me. I think I would think painting inside was much more difficult, because, I mean, I either paint, I've been lately trying to do landscapes and outdoor things like that, and otherwise I usually paint animals, which are out of doors. And so I'm going to start doing that now, just sort of very little detail, just indicating a man and a horse and a cart.
I like oil colour painting, but and you can't get the same effects in oil as I can with as well with watercolours. I like it to be intricate details and have a life of its own. If you want to succeed in doing a painting, you've got to try and get the atmosphere of the place, and as well as the light and dark and shadows and body and everything like that. It's either representation or trying to get it close as damn it. I try and do all. I try to mix as many different styles into my artwork as possible.
On this bit, I'm just putting in the shadows, which Susan suggested that I should put in. But to be honest with you, it doesn't need an awful lot. It needs to be really subtle. So actually, it's quite difficult to do. When Susan came round, a bit typical of today, it was lovely bright sunshine. And when you actually get round to doing it, to try to remember what it looked like when you were doing it is actually quite difficult. I like using watercolours because they are a very technical medium. Although once you've learnt the rules, you can break them as much as you like. They have their own discipline, which is very important. And the fact that they are so portable and so easy to use as well, in that respect, they just are very adaptable and affordable and really easy to get into.
Around the neck of every art expert, and I use the following words advisedly because of where we are today, a millstone hangs. My painting lesson. Would you like to begin, Susan?
I'd love to begin. It's a pleasure. Although today's lesson has a slight element of danger for us both.
Is it? Why? What's that?
Well, you asked me if we could do the sgraffito, but this is quite dangerous because it's a strong blade, but it's very, very sharp.
Right.
So put it at a nearly 45-degree angle and then drag it. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay?
Right.
Okay, and that gives you quite a delicate effect. So have a go with that. Be careful of the blade.
So, where am I going to start? About
that
there.
trunk. Press hard. Keep the pressure on. Keep the pressure on. Very well done. Very well done. That is brilliant, Hannah. That's lovely.
It's amazing
If you want
effect.
if you want to get a harder scrape than that, what you do is you put the blade in at a 90-degree angle, press it in, and then pull.
Oh yes.
Now you're keeping the pressure on all the time. So you put the blade in at 90 degree, get the pressure on it, and then drag.
Yeah.
And then you get a very dramatic effect.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
So try that on that one up there.
Okay. So it's down at 90 degrees.
That's it. Yeah, and keep the pressure going. It's hard when you turn a corner. That's it. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. That's just brilliant. Okay. That's absolutely brilliant. Now, how about learning how to do some twigs in the front?
Oh yes, please.
Okay. So put the blade in like this, and then you can flick it up, and it makes a different sort of a mark.
Okay.
That's right, and flick it. Cut it in and then flick it up. Perfect. Really brilliant. Well done.
I certainly don't paint what I see, what is before my eyes. Because I think if you're going to paint like that, you might as well take a photograph, which takes far less time.
Oh, the way it comes together, I think, it all leads into one direction, the mill. I don't know, I didn't want to overwork it. There's quite a lot going on in the picture for just a, just a lone windmill. It's got quite a lot of things attracting to the actual sails and the grounds around it, I think.
I don't think I got as much depth in it as I would have liked. I do like the middle, and I did get the focal point where I wanted it. I didn't manage to get as much foreground and middle ground as I would have liked, and maybe right from the very beginning I didn't give enough room. The composition's fine. It did what I wanted, but it's not got as many layers as I would have liked.
Well, the sails of the windmill are still whizzing round, and unfortunately the hands of the clock have not stood still either. So I have to ask you all to stop painting. However, there is good news. There is cake for tea, made with the flour from this very mill, Margot.
Hooray! You are the flavour of the month, Hannah.
So are you, Margot. Susan?
Hi. Hello, Susan. Are you ready for your cake?
I certainly am. This works very well. I think it's the most successful painting. I especially like your horse and cart coming in here.
I think it's lovely.
Thank you, Susan.
It makes a lovely diagonal lead-in up here. It would have been nice if you had the fourth sail in there, which would have picked that up as a reverse diagonal there.
Oh, yes. But I should have had it there, shouldn't I?
A little hint of it would have been nice.
A little hint of it, yes.
Was it a bit of a rush to finish it?
Oh, Susan, hideous rush. Yes.
Oh dear. Very successful.
Thank
That
you
mill's
very much.
absolutely terrific.
Thank you so much. It's been great fun doing it.
Oh, I'm delighted.
It's been lovely.
Delighted.
It's been wonderful.
Yeah.
Come on then, Susan. Thank you, Margot.
Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Susan.
How's David been doing? Oh, very well.
I think it's wonderful. I love your colours, and I love the feeling of movement through the painting. It's really bright and it's lively, and you've got that lovely breezy feel. Most unusual use of colour and texture through the front, which I like very much.
I was trying to use the watercolours a bit like oil paints.
Well, that's okay. I like the handling of the paint. That's not been a problem. Just if the dark had run through there. All of this works very nicely indeed.
Yes. I love the way you've used that kind of sweep up there, as though it's really being swirled round. And a real vibrant, windy, blowy day.
Yeah.
But, jolly nice. Thank you.
Well done.
Okay.
Oh, this has lived up to its promise, hasn't it?
I think this works really beautifully all through here. Do you see if I block that off, how well the top works?
Yes.
I think that perhaps in this section here, the detail sort of overtook you.
Yeah, yeah, it doesn't need to be so complicated.
No.
I think this is extraordinarily good, all this area here. How did you get that wonderful effect?
Sandpaper.
Really?
Well done.
Well done.
Thank you.
I think that A-level art's in the bag myself. One of these paintings will win the artist a place in the Friday regional final. But which one? Margot has successfully evoked times past with her horse and cart. David's textured effects give his composition dynamic movement. And Jo's deft shadows and brushwork have enhanced her close-up view of the windmill. Well, look at this. I'm going to have a bite of this before I say another word. It really is delicious and much to be recommended. Well, it's not the only thing to be recommended. I can hardly speak with this cake in my mouth, but it's worth saying that the paintings today are so accomplished, and I think it's going to be very difficult for Susan to name the winner. But put that cake down, get on with it, Susan.
I have to. Oh dear. Well, I think we've had a wonderful day, and I love Margot's. She's got a really sculptural quality about her windmill, great strength about it. You can really see the influence of what you do. And then David's is just so bright and vibrant and colourful. It's so expressive. And again, I think it's a marvellous piece of work. And Jo's also is very strong. I love the design of it. And I feel that Jo's one has really come together the best. Well done, Jo.
Well done, Jo. Really well done, Jo.
Commiserations. Nobody goes away empty-handed.
Commiserations, but congratulations too. There we are, David.
Thank you
very much indeed.
Okay.
Oh, you do.
Yeah.
Made me forget what I was going to say now. Well, on this note, we leave Bursledon Windmill. Tomorrow, you'll find us at Fawley Oil Refinery. Rather a different kettle of fish indeed, but we hope we'll see you there. And so, goodbye. Who's going to have another piece of this cake?
And there's now Watercolour Challenge Club, which offers members a quarterly club magazine and other special offers as well. Individual membership is £20 and application forms are available by phoning 0870 24 24 848. Well, next on 4 Daytime, it's 15 to 1.